We do a video call with Dana.
We're live right now.
He's a busy man.
Trump 2024. I'm voting for Trump. Oh, you are? Oh, yeah.
Yep, that probably was the real Joe Biden, especially with the comments he's making right now, which probably signals to us that he might be voting for Donald Trump. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Radowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we will be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now, as of course there never is a shortage of things to discuss, as Arnold Schwarzenegger just came out and endorsed a presidential candidate. Biden is now apologizing for his comment about Donald Trump supporters being garbage, as some Democrats are actually doubling down on it, as there's new information coming out against P. Diddy, a big Democratic backer, as a massive pro-Trump caravan has just formed in Puerto Rico. All of this as there's a lot of backlash against Tony Hinchcliffe and potentially a Bad Bunny conspiracy. What's going on here? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be discussing here for the next 2 hours. Please share this broadcast with your friends and family members, because it's only when you do that that we're able to get out there to the general public. As you guys know, YouTube really doesn't like us, and it's really been you guys that has helped us survive and be here as an independent media platform for 20 plus years. You guys mean a lot to us, and to return the favor, we of course make you a part of the show. As members of LukeUnfiltered.com actually get the ability to call into the show and be a part of it. You could be that caller just by simply signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. You get on a Telegram channel. I am in there right now, and we will be going to you in about an hour and a half from now. First-time callers also get a free supplement from wearechange.shop, as of course we are going to be doing everything in our power to read all of the super chats, but of course we will be prioritizing mysuperchats.com, that of course only has a 3% service charge rather than a 30% YouTube service charge. Joining us for this conversation is the one and only Colby Covington. Colby, for the people who might not know who you are, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Who am I? I'm just, a kid from a small town in Oregon who, never gave up on his dreams and followed the, combat sports and mixed martial arts journey to success in my life. So, I'm one of the top fighters in the world. I've been a world champion in the UFC. So, I've reached all the heights, that I've set out for in life. So now, there's a bigger fight that I'm trying to do than fighting in the UFC, and that's save this country. We don't want a tyrannical government that's just going to have complete control and take away all our constitutional amendments. That's not how our forefathers intended it to be. So I'm going to keep fighting, but in a different arena, the political arena.
Absolutely. We're definitely involved in what I think is one of the biggest fights for the future of this country. And it's good to have people like you on our side. It's good to have individuals that actually put their money where their mouth is and stand up for larger ideas. As, of course, a lot of celebrities, a lot of sports stars usually get paid off to do the opposite of what you're doing. So it really does mean a lot to push the culture, to incentivize not just individuals to think critically, but to most importantly, take care of their bodies, to work out and to be engaged in other things than, of course, just doing what you're told by the status quo. So it's a pleasure to have you. Really appreciate it. We're going to get into it because there's so many different things happening. We're going to do a little soy boy liberal fight breakdown in about an hour from now, which is going to be really funny. Joining us for the show is also the very awesome and incredible big pioneer here in the South Florida community herself, Martha Bueno.
Hey, Luke. Thanks again for that intro. And I am so excited for tonight's show. Let's go. This is heavyweight here in the house. And, oh, wow, it's like so incredible. So thanks. And I hope everyone enjoys the show.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Colby came in. He's just a very humble guy. He's down with jokes. He's wearing a shirt that people forgot about the assassination, and they're talking about Tony's jokes.
They forgot about the thing.
People need to be more like Colby. Colby, I'm Robbie Mann. How you doing? It's going to be a great show. We have one of the best fighters in the world, a great guy. I'm really looking forward to the amazing discussion we're going to have.
Steph?
Hey everybody, this is Steph. We are Change, ready to push the buttons.
Steph has some very interesting things to say about the 19th Amendment as well. We'll be getting into all of it here on this independent media broadcast, as of course we are in the midst of, I think, one of the biggest political battles in this country's history. There's a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm already a little anxious about what is going to be happening here, as a lot of people expect there to be a lot of crazy things ahead of us. As currently, according to CNN polls, you could take that with a grain of salt. According to them, Kamala Harris has a narrow edge in Michigan and Wisconsin and currently is tied with Trump in Pennsylvania. This as the predicted market and other pollsters are highlighting a completely different picture. What are they seeing that we aren't seeing, I think, is the larger question here, as of course me and Robbie took to the streets recently and we were talking to people, and surprisingly, yes, there actually are a lot of Kamala supporters, even here in Miami. The first thing that they always talked about was, quote, women's reproductive rights. And truly, with the way that things are going, with just the latest gaffe from Joe Biden, it does seem like things couldn't get any worse for Kamala Harris. I know a lot of people are saying it's close. It definitely doesn't look like it, but this is American politics. Anything could happen here, especially when it comes to the larger delegate game that will essentially be deciding who the next future president of the United States is. I don't know about you guys, but I think personally, this race is a little bit closer than we think it is. What do you guys think?
You have a lot of educated viewers here, and not everyone's like Martha and Steph and Colby. I think the average person, they're watching the mainstream media, they're getting fed these lies. It's hard to get out of the program. They're believing what they're told.
Of course, I believe the lies. Like it's a blatant lie. And right now, if you ask any like Kamala supporter, it's like, well, we have to protect women's rights, their body rights or body autonomy. It's like, well, number one, abortion is now a state's issue, not a federal issue. So even though she's promising something, she can't actually deliver on it. And two, again, we're talking about the destruction of human life. And it's like, that's your number one issue, is how you can murder your offspring. Like, I don't get it. But yes, please, Colby.
I mean, I don't think we can get caught up in the fake polls. We saw how they came out in 2016 saying that Hillary was way ahead in the polls. So
98%.
I'm not going to get caught up in that. We got to just, do what we got to do. We got to get out there and vote. We got to keep encouraging people to vote at all costs. You cannot stay home. If you stay home, that's a vote for Kamala, and that's a vote for the Communist Party. So, get out there and vote and stay positive more than anything. Don't believe in what the fake news is telling you.
And tell your liberal friends, educate them, take the time to tell them, hey, guys, this is not true. I had a friend tell me Trump's going to abolish the Constitution. You have to tell them these are lies. You got to explain to them what's going on with the Unity Party, with Bobby Kennedy, with all these Make America Healthy Again. There's so many amazing things going on with the Trump administration.
Well, there's a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of propaganda floating around. And sadly, a very hyperbolic language from Kamala Harris, from Joe Biden, and of course the corporate media that are trying to associate Donald Trump with the guy with the funny mustache from Germany in the 1930s. And I'm like, that's a ridiculous assertion here, but it kind of shows you how they are very desperate. They're trying to, of course, attack him with everything that they got, and this is their talking points. This is what they're leading with a couple days right before the election. It definitely does seem like they are running a campaign based on fear, based off intimidation, based off just trying to scare the crap out of individuals, because they don't really have anything else. They can't run on their record. Democrats have been in charge 12 out of the last 16 years. They don't have a lot to show for that record. A lot of Americans are dealing with some significant issues, some significant problems in their lives because of those 12 years under their leadership that, of course, wrecked their lives, destroyed their savings, and, of course, brought us to a place where a lot of people aren't really happy with the status quo. And I think overwhelmingly a lot of people will be going to the ballot box because they are so disenfranchised, so pissed off at the system, and now they have sort of a voice, a vessel with Donald Trump, especially with RFK Jr. by his side, that are representing these larger kind of anti-establishment viewpoints that are finally making it to the mainstream. And they're only making it to the mainstream because of independent media. So shouts out to all of you guys that allow this show to be possible, and shouts out to all the people who are no longer tuning into the corporate media mass mind control hypnosis, and of course deciding to discern information for themselves by actually hearing independent voices talk to you like you're an honest, real human being, and not pander to you like you're a little child. That's what I think is the biggest difference here.
Did you see the Nick Bosa came out with the MAGA hat? Are you getting villainized all online because you're a big public figure?
I mean, yeah, definitely. You know,
He's getting crap for it, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting a lot of crap, which is ridiculous that, you know, he can't have his freedom, you know, his constitutional right to freedom to think what he wants to think. So, you know, all those people that are getting mad at him, those are the very people that are just the division of hate. You know, why can't we have freedom of speech in this country? Why can't we think what we want to think? Why do we have to believe, you know, what the propaganda media tells us? So, you know, personally, I know how bad it's been. I've been censored on social media. I've lost a lot of sponsors because I came out in support for Trump. So I'm the exact opposite of selling my soul to the government. You know, I'm the guy that, you know, I stood up to the establishment and, you know, I'm standing up for the people. You know, Donald Trump is the people's champ. He wants to put America first, and that's what I stand behind. You know, why can't the Democrats talk about their policies? All they can talk about is hate and personalities of Trump. They can't talk about the policies they're going to run on because this country is literally burning as we speak. So, you know, Kamala broke it. Trump's going to fix it.
No, you brought up a very important point that I think is, you know, it's something that a lot of Americans should be thinking about right now, is that when you kind of stand out for Donald Trump, you get vilified, you get attacked. You support Kamala Harris, you get cheerleaded by the corporate media, all the late night TV show hosts, all of the individuals that are in the entertainment Hollywood industry look like they have been told, you're going to be supporting Kamala. This is the script. You better read it. We'll pay you for it. But we also potentially have some tapes of you at a Diddy party that we might be using here. But this is the kind of larger kind of hypocrisy in our society. You support one side, you get attacked. You support another side, you get all the commercials, you get all the movie deals, you get supported by all these big people in these industries that reward you for playing politics. But you play politics the wrong way, they're going to come after you.
I think it just goes to show we've got alpha men for Trump and the opposite for Kamala. I mean, look at like who's supporting her. And they even, you know, we were talking about it earlier. They had to put on video of like, women, go support Kamala, even if your husband says the opposite. It's like, you know, if you are a strong male figure, you realize that you're not going to vote for Kamala. And this whole like narrative, it's all about the lies. Again, the abortion lie, or for example, her big thing about turning the page. Well, Kamala, you are the page. You are currently in office. And if we turn the page, that just to me sounds like an endorsement for Donald Trump.
It's crazy. You see this dude, he's got 2 million followers, Nicky Romero. He's standing with Trump at the rally. He endorsed him, and all of a sudden he's offended by a roast comic who does that for a living.
You mean professionally known as Nicky Jams?
Yes.
Yes.
We have that whole Puerto Rico segment lined up in a little bit, but let's talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger, another very...
Say that name again, Luke.
I said it correctly. English is my second language.
Same, Luke, same.
Stop picking on me, Martha.
Schwarzenegger,
The
he's in his-
Terminator.
Stop picking on me. I'm an immigrant, Martha. How dare you?
Same, Luke, same. But some of us learn the language.
Listen, I'm a product of a New York City public education system, and it shows. But
You're right. I learned how to speak in Venezuela. So cheers
yes.
to the third world country.
I learned in Brooklyn, New York, in the '90s, and they didn't teach me anything.
Hugo Chavez
they
is
didn't
her
even
uncle.
teach me my ABCs.
No, please. No. Nope.
But anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did I say that correct? Is that all right, Martha?
It's better.
Is that better? A man who, by the way, has a lot of ties to actual Germans in the 1930s. This guy also wore insignia, specifically highlighting skull and bones from the Germans in the 1930s. This guy said a lot of weird things about people who were a part of Germany in the 1930s. I confronted, by the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger before, and I asked him, you know, let's talk about your ties to the Germans in the 1930s and all the horrible things that they did under their fascistic government. He, of course, dodged those questions, didn't want to answer them. But if we're going to be connecting anyone to the Germans in the 1930s, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the person you directly connect to with his crazy, salacious comments that he previously made before with his adoration for people that actually took the lives of other individuals under that fascistic regime. I should pull up the quotes of what Arnold Schwarzenegger did and represented before. If my producer's watching, if you could help me find some of them, that'll be great. I might be inclined to even show my old confrontation with him because he really didn't like me questioning about his allegiance to this.
Old Luke is like badass Luke.
Yeah.
I like old Luke.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger came out and said that he is backing Kamala Harris. Why is he backing Kamala Harris?
As a Republican, no less.
He's not a real Republican.
Not really. He's like
but didn't he run in California on like an environmental kind of shtick? Like, isn't that his background?
He's a commie Fordian, And he absolutely is also a larger kind of proponent of eugenics, population control, a lot of weird stuff when it comes to Arnold, who isn't just a movie star. There's a lot of other deeper, more sinister roots that he has that, of course, the corporate media won't be talking about now, but should be talking about, especially with his larger political endorsement. This is what he just had to say.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former Republican governor of California, in a long X post endorsing Harris, saying, quote, "We need to close the door on this chapter of American history, and I know that former President Trump won't do that. He will divide, he will insult, he will find new ways to be more un-American than he already has been, and we the people will get nothing but more anger." John Arnold.
He's an establishment puppet.
Yeah, I think he might have mixed up the political lines here, because last I've seen, it's Joe Biden that's insulting Donald Trump supporters, not Donald Trump himself here. But the reason he's doing it is because of the insults. That's what the other side is doing.
I would
That's not
love
what
to
Donald
see
Trump's
him
doing.
in his prime against you. I think you destroy him.
Oh yeah, I'd make him quit and tap out so quick. He's such a little beta, you know. He had to do steroids his whole life, and didn't he knock up like his nanny or something like
Yes,
that?
he
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah,
we taking
yeah.
any information that he's putting out there and taking it with a grain of salt? That guy's just not a good human being.
Also, he wasn't a fighter. He was a bodybuilder.
I know.
It's very different sport. I mean, you look at bodybuilders. They
but
can't
he
like put their
thought-
arms
he-
down.
He,
Exactly.
he thinks he's
Can't
tough, and
move.
I'd love to see Colby, put him in his place back in the day.
You just
Would
want to
love
use
that.
Kobe. You're like, Kobe, can you go after this guy? Kobe, come on, let's go.
Well, I just don't like these evil people who pretend that they're good. And Colby's a good soul. He's a good guy.
Where would you
can
put Kobe
tell.
in the government?
Oh, I mean, I'd put him in charge of protecting everybody.
Let's go. Where would you put him? Like protecting what?
Protecting the president. I think he'd be great for that. I think he's good for. He's a very smart guy too. He's not just a fighter. I mean, he's a versatile guy.
I think we need to start with like every level of the government, and like he first needs to go clean out, like, let's say the NIH, like Fauci, boom, gone.
I want
Like,
him
let's
to
go.
torture all and say, hey man, what
Forget
dirt do
tarring.
they have on you?
Non-violence.
Forget
is
tarring
the way
and
to
feathering.
not do this.
Forget tarring and feathering the politicians that we don't agree with. We'll just stick Colby on him.
I just want to find the dirt on all these politicians. I think Colby's the great guy to find out all the dirt.
Hang
on
them
them.
upside their
Interrogator of Diddy, I think, would be something that might be potentially considered. But here's the picture of Arnold's nanny that he had an affair with, which a lot of people are definitely questioning his decision on that, as he cheated on Maria Shriver. And we're trying to pull up some of the quotes here. But yeah, a lot of people aren't really happy with Arnold right now. But we could also ask Colby what he wants to do as well. Like, we don't have to speculate.
Colby's not corrupt, so he wants to do what's right. You know, these guys are obviously corrupt. I mean, you can tell what they're saying. It just sounds very disingenuous.
Yeah. Are you going to move on to politics? You kind of hinted to that in your opening. So is this where, is there anywhere else for you to go in sports? And are you going to come over to the politics side? Come join us in the dark side.
I mean, there's definitely a strong possibility. At one point in your life, you have to figure out when it's the next chapter, and that time could be coming up. But I'm going to let the people decide that. I'd love to serve the people and fight for the people. I've been fighting for myself my whole life, but now I'd like to stand up for the people. My grandfather flew in the in the Air Force, and he was in the Korean and Vietnam War, so I know what it is to fight and to fight for constitutional amendments that he protected, as a serviceman. So we got to stand up for our service, and so I'd love to serve the people. And if I could get into a position like that, I would definitely take that.
Awesome.
You're too trustworthy. They don't know if they'd allow you to come in. You're not corrupt
He
enough.
needs
Yeah.
the Diddy tapes. He needs to go to Epstein Island first,
Yeah, right.
No, please don't.
No, I wouldn't do it. But I can't be bought. I've made good money in the UFC thanks to Uncle Dana White. He's the greatest promoter in sports history, and he doesn't put a muzzle on any of his athletes. So that's the beauty of the UFC is they let everybody speak their mind freely, and they're not going to muzzle you like some of these other organizations like Roger Goodell or the basketball leagues where all the owners and commissioners are telling you what you can and can't say. Like, for example, what we were just talking about with Bosa. Now they're going to fine him. How are they going to fight him for having a political opinion? He believes in freedoms. He believes in Trump, and he thinks he's the man of the future. So
They wouldn't even show Trump when he was at the game, and they showed
Yeah.
Taylor Swift all day.
oh yeah, like 20 times.
It's
It reminds me of
ridiculous.
like
Ridiculous,
Enes Kanter Freedom, who changed his name to Freedom, a Turkish citizen who came over, played basketball for I'm going to butcher this. I think it's the Celtics.
Oh, I know you're talking
Oh,
about
yeah, Enes Kanter,
Enes
yeah.
Kanter,
Yeah,
yeah.
Enes Kanter,
Yeah, and it,
He was on the Knicks, maybe? I forget.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's like It's like a
He's
green.
been on a bunch of
He
teams.
played a couple teams.
Yeah, but he was talking about the issue with the Uyghurs in China,
Yeah.
and they canceled him. They removed him. Actually, the
off the
jacket I'm
roster.
wearing, he's the one that signed it. It says freedom in the back, and he signed it at a conference because I think it's so cool when athletes speak their mind.
Dana White is the reason for that. Dana White believes in free speech. He's also a very smart man. He's endorsed Trump. He's not corrupt. He's not bought and paid for.
Yeah, we'll get into the larger cultural aspects of this. But just to finish off the topic about Arnold, we also have to remember that it was not so long ago where he literally said, screw your freedoms, when asked directly about people's own personal, private medical health choices that they were forced and manipulated to, of course, go against. So truly, he is a fascist, in my opinion, and also he adored fascist, as of course I just now found his original kind of tweet endorsement, and I decided to quote him and his larger admiration for the German 1930s funny mustache guy. Yep, Arnold said it himself, that, quote, I philosophize that only a few men are born to lead, while the rest of humanity is born to follow, and went from that into discussing history's greatest conquerors and dictators. Schwarzenegger writes in his book, I admired the funny mustache guy from Germany, speaking ability, though not what he did with it. Again, he reiterated, I, quote, admired the funny mustache guy, because he, quote, came from being a little man with almost no formal education up to power, Schwarzenegger said. So yeah, that's the guy that is now endorsing Kamala Harris. What a surprise there.
He's a sicko.
Imagine and like realistically writing it in your book, like feeling it and being like, you know what, I admired that guy.
I loved Terminator 2. It was one of my favorite movies growing up.
His father was also a big SS guy. And then you saw Arnold Schwarzenegger literally wear an insignia of the SS on his belt when he was a grown adult, not as a child. So there's a lot of weird connections here that Arnold has to answer for, that if you're a part of the independent media, you're not going to him and being like, hey, we need to really find out who's the one who adores that funny mustache guy here, if we're going to accuse Donald Trump of doing that.
He doesn't have a soul. I mean, you can feel it. Don't you just feel he's soulless?
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up, he was saving Sarah Connor, one of my favorite movies. I mean, Terminator 2, come on, we all love that movie. And it just breaks my heart that he just seems like he just feels something
He's also
off.
part of the Kennedy family, and now we have part of the Kennedy family with RFK.
His ex-wife was part of the town hall where we brought up to Mike Benz the other day when we said, okay, like, can you ask any questions? She's like, no, they're all pre-scripted.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, now that we have RFK on this team, whatever that's supposed to mean, you know, like there's a family divide going on here.
I need you to find Arnold. Colby.
I would love to find him. And I mean, to all the undecided voters out there, this is the guy that's your role model. This is the guy you want to take advice from who you're going to vote in this election. I mean, that's just wrong on you. You know, you should get out there and do the research, find out the facts, find out the truth. And this guy's not the truth. He's
Turn off the
nothing more than a
mainstream
con
media.
man.
I agree.
Exactly.
Listen to Colby, everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody
listen
should
to
listen
Colby.
to Colby.
Also, you were just at Madison Square Garden. So how was that? Was that like...
Oh my gosh. It was amazing. I lost my voice. I'm still trying to get my voice back. I was screaming so much for Trump, and just all the people that were there. Just the energy in the arena was just electric. I mean, there's never been a political event, but it just shows that this is not a political movement. This is a movement on love. This is a movement on unity. This is a movement on America first and putting this country first again, not sending our money overseas. So you can feel that energy in the arena. It was incredible. Shout out to the Dolans, you know, the owners of the MSG. You know, I got a invite from them. Chris Dolan, the son of James Dolan, you know, invited me, and just amazing to be there. And then my good buddy Bo Loudon, he was able to get me in as well, and his family, the Loudons, they're amazing people. God bless them, and some of the members at Mar-a-Lago. So incredible weekend, man. Trump, he was up there for like 2 hours just free flowing, not looking at a teleprompter, just organic, just real. And you know, that's why the people love him. I mean, he's the people's champ.
Have you seen up close the ear? How's it looking?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I have the funniest story. I was at the Alabama game, and someone's like, "Mr. President, thank you for taking a bullet for us." He looks over at me. I'm right next to him in the box suite for Alabama, Georgia. He's like, "At least my ear doesn't look like Colby's." 'Cause I got cauliflower ear, you know, from fighting over.
Oh,
these
now I
ears,
gotta
so.
now that you pointed out, now I gotta see. No.
You guys see it? Okay, I should.
Oh damn, yeah,
It seems like all the people that are like genuine, that have good souls, who have good hearts, who care about this country, are all on that side. They're all at that rally. I just get like a fake vibe from the other side.
Yeah, just a fake and demonic. I mean, just look at what they stand for. You know, they're trying to destroy women's sports. This is who you're going to vote for. They want men to be able to compete in women's sports. I mean, the vice president believes that there should be tampons in men's bathrooms. Like, this is what you're running on.
I don't mind there being tampons in men's bathroom. If there were tampons in the female bathroom, I mean, it's so annoying that we can't get them. But yeah, no, let's totally put it in the men's bathroom. Please. Thank you. This is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's also fair to say those anabolic steroids definitely do have a long-term effect on your brain, which could explain some of the actions by Arnold there. But Donald Trump called, actually, the rally at MSG a, quote, love fest, as a lot of people are now trying to conflate it with the racist remarks that were made allegedly against Puerto Rico. I didn't think they were racist.
They're not racist.
This is just a larger kind of just hyperbolic nature of the corporate media that's trying to obfuscate something that is really huge. I mean, selling out Madison Square Garden and having thousands of people outside in one of the bluest, wokest, liberal cities in the United States does send a message to the establishment that I don't think they were very happy with. As Kamala Harris, is comparing this rally as something that fans the fuel of hate and division. Colby, you were there. Was there a lot of hate and division there?
No, there wasn't any hate and division, just pure love and joy for, this beautiful country that we love so much, and our, Donald Trump is the ultimate guy that's made and achieved the American dream. So we know how beautiful this country is, and it gives everybody the same opportunity to achieve that dream. So, not only was it a packed out arena, there was people literally lined up all the way down to the Hudson River. That's how much this movement is made up of love and just appreciation and respect. And, it was just so humbling to be in the arena amongst so many great politicians and obviously, our leader, Donald Trump, who's at the forefront of it. So, God bless the Trumps for putting themselves in this fight. They didn't have to be in this fight. They could be living their billionaire lifestyle, at the most beautiful resorts, on the most beautiful beaches, but they're here to fighting for the people. And, the people see that. And that's why so many people were out there in New York. And I think New York's in play. I really think New York's in play.
I think so too.
I do too. I think it's a long shot, but it's in play. I was doing street interviews there, and it was in the city. It was like 60-40 Kamala, but you look at Long Island, you look at Staten Island, upstate, it's more Trump.
You just said something that I think really stuck out for me, and that is that Donald Trump doesn't have to do this because most politicians have not done anything in the private sector. They don't have anything to stand on. They don't make money unless they're, receiving it in donations to their campaigns and whatnot. Meanwhile, Donald Trump made money on his own. He's probably one of the very few presidents we've had, at least in the last 100 years, that is actually a self-made, not even millionaire, billionaire. And so, that means a lot, especially when you look at the other side of the aisle. And Kamala has only worked for the state. She has never had a private sector job. And as a matter of fact, she hasn't actually achieved those jobs through her own merit. She's achieved them because she's been appointed to them. In some cases, through her relationship with a certain...
she worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And very,
Big Willie Brown.
Yeah. So it says something because when women are like, oh, you got to vote for a woman because like this is... It's just... That's not something that fills me with joy. I mean, any woman pretty much can reach any height by doing those things. It's when women achieve those things by working, doing the things themselves. If you need a man to get to that position... That's not prideful for women. Like,
no. How many women have you heard actually say, I'm voting for Kamala because she's a woman?
Lots.
A lot.
I have
lots. All of them.
A lot.
All of them on the street.
Yeah.
Abortion and because she's a woman.
Yeah, it's literally that. It's because my right to health care and because she's a woman. I have not heard somebody say something other than either the hyperbole of like Donald Trump is going to like end the Constitution. He's going to become a dictator day one, which funny enough, he wasn't a dictator the first time around. I might have disagreed with him, but I don't think he was a dictator. And then it's she's a woman or my right to choose, which... you don't know, but I'm very big on like non-circumcising our children. And it's like, what about that right?
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, like it's like my body, my choice for women, but for men, oh, no, I like it this way. So we're just going to go ahead and chop everybody's, so yeah.
And after the 2 failed assassination attempts, the media won't talk about that at all. They're going to only talk about a roast comics
3
joke,
assassination
and they're not
attempts?
talking about any of the good things. If you turn on the news, they weren't showing. You're saying it was the message of love at MSG. They didn't show any of that. They're just this is a message of hate. That they have nothing good to say. It's really sad.
The only thing they can say is Tony Hinchcliffe. So how did the audience receive his joke? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. People were laughing because, it's just...
I heard some boos,
the guy's
though.
a comedian. This is what he does for a living. Like, he's trying to get people talking. Like, I know Tony personally. I've hung out with him. I've been to his comedy club at the LA Comedy Club, when I went and, met up with my buddy Brennan Schaub and Joe Rogan out there. So I know the guy, and that's what comedians do. They try and do controversial takes, and they try and get a laugh out of people. And whether you have an opinion, you hate it or love it, that's exactly what he wants out of people. So, he's going to do what he does, and that's be a comedian.
Why do you think Joe hasn't came out and endorsed Trump yet?
Man, he's
And do you
scared.
think he will?
Honestly,
I don't think he can
no,
until he
I don't
interviews.
think
He doesn't want to lose
Kamala.
his audience in Spotify.
Oh, but he's not going to interview Kamala. She already put in all these stipulations like, oh, you got to come to D.C. and you can only do it for an hour. I'm not coming to you, and we're not going to do 3 hours. He's like, how can I get to know someone in an hour? Like, I want to really get to know who you are.
Would you do it if you were him, though? Would you just take that hour? Because that hour, she's going to bomb in that hour anyways. Would you do it?
No, traveling to her.
I mean, come on.
I
All
mean,
he has to do
no,
is get on
why-
a private
why-
jet.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. He doesn't
Why-
do that
yeah,
though.
why would
Cry
he-
me a river.
He's
Well,
got
they
the
can
biggest
send them Air
podcast in the
Force
world.
What does he
One
He's
owe
got
or
the
two
her?
biggest
or
podcast
whatever.
in the world. Why would he
Yeah.
do that? Why would he waste his time? He's giving her the opportunity.
Yeah.
She's a nobody. Everybody knows she can't talk. She has to have a teleprompter in front of her face at all times. Otherwise, the teleprompter goes off. She has no idea.
He already
She's
said
just-
he'd agree to no tough questions. He said he would just have a conversation.
Well, she needs him. He doesn't need her. And I
Right.
think changing the whole format of your show and making it an hour show just shows you how they're putting out special demands for special treatment. She shouldn't get special
She
treatment.
had time for
Trump-
Shay Shay.
yeah.
She had time for the Call Me Daddy.
Softball
Yeah,
questions.
she had time for all of them. But for Rogan, the largest podcast literally on the planet.
literally.
There's Democrats begging her to do it. Andrew Yang's like, please do this interview. Please talk to Joe Rogan.
I don't think
Please
it's
get out
completely
there to the
ruled. I don't
general
think it's
public."
completely ruled out yet.
Well, I don't think it is either. But from the latest comments from Joe Rogan, it's not going to happen. It was supposed to happen today, but it didn't.
Which subsequently now, J.D. Vance is going to go on. So,
Yeah.
I think that pretty much says everything about it. That, they're going to give Vance the opportunity since Kamala doesn't want to take it. So
Joe's going to endorse them the day of the election like he did to Joe Jorgensen 4 years ago.
I didn't like J.D. Vance, by the way, until I saw the debate. I was like, oh, I actually like this guy.
Yes.
I wasn't a huge fan going in.
Same.
I didn't know much about him, and I hadn't heard much talk about him.
Have you met him now?
I haven't got to meet him yet. He's probably one of the only people I haven't met. I met literally everybody else you could think of. So
Can you call Joe and just be like, listen, bro, we need this. We have Bobby. He wanted Bobby. He's got Bobby. How can you not come out and endorse? You got your Spotify money. Come on, bro. I mean, what are we living for here?
Do you really think people are going to be like, oh my God, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but now that Joe, said it, I'm going to? Like, do we need that?
There are
Yeah.
some people that worship him. Yes.
yeah, for sure.
All right, then in that case, yes, please call Joe.
A lot of young men, statistically, a lot of young men aren't voters. So that's another kind of major problem with this year's kind of election. If you look at the stats out there, there's a lot of women that are overwhelmingly supporting Kamala, a lot of young men supporting Donald Trump, and saying that they will vote for him, but will they vote is going to be the
Voting
big
is
question.
open right now, guys. You can literally head to the polls right now, especially if you're here in Florida. You can just go out and vote.
You don't
right
even
now.
need an ID if you're in New York or Pennsylvania.
Oh, please. I hope you need an ID. But yeah, you can get out and vote right now. So there's really no excuse.
Don't
you got
listen
time.
to Robbie. What did you just say? Don't say that because they have weird laws. They sent what's his name?
Well, Elon just posted that he literally just posted a couple. You can look it up. He's saying
But we're
that-
not on an Elon platform right now.
They sent Douglas Mackey, who was here on the show, to jail for literally copying a meme and posting it based off election, based off the election.
And it was hilarious. He posted like text your. You don't have to go out and vote. You can just text your vote, and he like put the number for Hillary Clinton, and
Really?
and they sent him to jail because they're like, you're election interfering, and people actually believed you.
I was just
and
reading what
and with the way
tweeted.
things are going with the Kamala Harris administration and the DOJ, of course, that was not a real thing. We're not telling you to call in your vote. Most states do require identification. Some of them don't. I know Elon is talking about it right now, but yeah, you got to be super careful now, especially with the Biden DOJ. They're going after a lot of different individuals, a lot of different people, and I think Douglas Mackey is just the start of what we're going to be seeing if Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States. Look what happened to Steve Bannon. Look what happened to Roger Stone. So I'm not even comfortable making those types of jokes on this show.
Considering what's happening to you, Luke?
Yeah.
I
and-
mean,
yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. Maybe we should
No.
change the subject.
Yeah, there's another big thing happening to me behind the scenes that I can't talk about. I'm going to release everything soon, and I'm just preparing everything. I'm talking to a bunch of lawyers lawyers, but just know behind the scenes we are very embattled. There's a lot of bad things happening to us by very powerful people that are screwing us over. We'll get into it. I hate talking about vagues. My lawyers are like, just shut up until you clear
can
this.
talk about it.
So
Yeah.
when I'm able to talk
But
about
if
it, you guys
anybody
will know
wants-
what's happening. But we definitely need your support more than ever on lookandfiltered.com. I don't think we have a caller yet. You could be that caller just by signing up. But yeah, it's not easy what's going on behind the scenes. Look what's happening to Alex Jones. He's going to have his entire empire liquidated in front of his eyes in just a few days from now. Yeah. He's literally going to have to go to court, and they're going to say, yeah, we're going to take your Twitter. Yeah, we're going to take your camera. We're going to take your studio. We're going to take these lights. We're going to take this merchandise, and it's going to be ours. We're just going to sell it, and we're just going to give it off. And, take everything that you worked so hard for over the past, what is it, 30, 40 years he's been at this? We're just going to take it all away, and we're going to hand it over to somebody else. That right there is definitely a chilling effect to just how legal lawfare works in this country and just how much it will be accelerated under a Kamala Harris presidency.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw that Julian Assange was pardoned. Well, but he had to agree that he did all this. So there's so much lawfare happening. I mean, again, you mentioned Trump, you mentioned Alex Jones, Free Ross. The sign is right behind us. I mean, today I was just actually reviewing the case for Roger Ver again, and I didn't even know that the DOJ stormed his attorney's office in 2017, and they're trying to get him to violate his attorney-client privilege. And so it's just, there's so much going on that I think the average American isn't aware. And so that lack of knowledge of what's actually happening, how the DOJ comes after us Americans, it's just wild. I mean, I guess Roger Ver is no longer an American. He gave up his citizenship. But what they've done to this man is just, it blows my mind. And then at the same time, I look at Hunter Biden, who is accused of the same thing that Roger Ver is accused of, which is avoiding taxes. He just pled guilty to it. And they're like, oh, it's all good, man. Here, just pay your little fine. Roger Ver could just pay his fine. But no, they want 109 years. Because according to the IRS, he didn't pay enough money. According to it's just, I'm so disgusted with how things are going on in this country. And I can't believe that this is a country that your grandfather fought for, that my parents fled communism for, that Luke, your family fled communism for. I mean, this is the country that if we can't keep ourselves out of jail because we disagree with our government, there's nowhere to go. The world is messed up. We're just throw in the towel. Let's all just be slaves because that's where we're going.
Yeah, I was born into communism, and all my family members are like, it's coming back. It's coming back here just like it did in our lifetimes in Poland. So it's crazy. There's a lot on the line here. And just to continue the conversation, Mike Cernovich just posted this: young men don't vote. Look at the age brackets. It's even worse if you separate by gender. High propensity podcast listeners are low propensity voters. So this is what he's now raising the alarms about.
Wow.
Specifically, young people not voting. Will they vote this year?
I got an idea. I can solve this problem. Wait for it. You don't go vote. We're just going to send Colby to your house.
I agree.
One-on-one cage match.
Yeah. But
With all you lazy mofos.
Colby is dedicated to everybody voting. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's willing to dedicate time. I can tell he's willing to make sacrifices.
He's going to go
he's
yank
here right
you
now.
from your mother's basement.
So
and
if you guys
force you to
respect
vote.
him, please go out and vote. Please tell your friends.
I want to ask you, are you worried about a Kamala Harris presidency and then potentially coming after you?
No, I choose not to go through life with any types of fear. I want to, we have to, it starts at the top, and it trickles down. Trump hasn't been afraid of it. He's literally dodged bullets, and he hasn't been afraid of the lawfare, the weaponization of the justice system, all these different things. So, he still smiles every day, still has a great sense of humor. So, I choose to kind of emulate how the boss is taking everything. So if they want to come after me, whatever, then I'll be a political prisoner, just like, Stephen Bannon, like you said, Mayor Rudy Giuliani out of New York, and all the others who've been unlawfully charged. So
jail's going to be lit.
Right? Jail's going to be
Well, we're going to manifest a Trump presidency. We're not
Luke, we're all going to be there together. It's going to be fantastic. I really believe that, if we got to work in the gulags, I mean, look, he's got the muscles. We're definitely going to produce food. It's fine.
Colby, I'm going to be your friend in the gulags, right?
For sure.
All right, good. All right.
Listen, I identify as a man. Please put me in that side. But
Yes,
I do not want to be in the...
You'll be with all the Kamala Harris voters.
No.
Because if you look at left-wing revolutions, they always eat their own first. They always go after their their biggest supporters, their biggest people that prop them up. And that's what should be the larger message to the left. If you think you're a part of a revolution, if you're going to help create it, look what happened in China, look what happened in the Soviet Union, look what happened with all these communistic, despotic regimes. They always go after the people who helped elect them and put them in power. Those are the first people that they go after when they get in power. Look how many people Stalin purged. It wasn't an accident. Look how many people
Fidel
Mao
Castro,
Zedong purged. Yes. So this is a real life
firing
situation.
squad was real in Cuba.
Yeah. We have some super chats. Steph, can we go over them right now, please?
El Mexicano says, "Yo, Colby, what's going on? Pretty general question, but how do you balance your endurance, strength, and actual MMA sessions? What do you prioritize in terms of time, focus? Thanks, brother. Keep fighting the good fight. Can't wait to catch your next fight." Question.
El Mexicano, what's up, bro? How you doing? It's a mindset. Every single day I wake up, I have a healthy diet. I make sacrifices to get to the gym. I'm very disciplined. I make sure I hit 2 days a lot of times. And, you have to have a healthy diet. You can't just be working out every day and then going and putting unleaded fuel in your body. You got to put premium fuel in your body. You got to put organic food. You got to put earth-grown foods. Those are the things that are healthy that, are going to make America healthy again. So, if you're not practicing what you're preaching, every day, I live a healthy life, and, I'm not really a partier. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke, any types of drugs. So I just stay focused every single day. And if you focus on that, anything's possible.
Yeah, no, we don't do any of that here, especially not me. No.
Only Martha.
Thanks, Luke.
But yeah, I'm also on that same kind of train. Once you start really taking care of your health, you start to also understand you don't really need that much government. But if you're not healthy, if you are affected by all the horrible things in our food and diet, you become very anxious, you become very nervous. And I think this is why the left overwhelmingly has such a huge mental health crisis, because they don't take care of themselves. They're individuals that are not well. And that's what I also worry about after November 5th. If Donald Trump wins, there's going to be a lot of mentally ill people that are literally going to be thinking that the funny mustache guy from the 1930s is making a resurgence. So that's another issue that the corporate media is creating for us. That's not smart. Steph, let's keep going.
We have Bad Joke 69 saying, "This Covington guy is jacked. No wonder they thought he was bullying that Native American at the Lincoln Memorial."
The Lincoln Memorial.
What? I think they are confused about who? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But I appreciate you saying I'm jacked.
He works hard at it.
I just thought myself as a cardio king. I didn't really consider myself jacked, but thank you. Much respect, brother. Keep grinding every day, and you can be doing the same things in life.
Great,
that
great.
message.
I think that's...
No,
we have
there's
one
more.
From El Mexicano here that says, "At what point does this system break? How long can the woke mob keep denying reality before another superpower steps in as the dominant power? What are your guys' thoughts on the next 5 to 10 years on a global scale if the insanity continues?"
I guess you can see what happens next if you just pay attention to where it's already happened. So like Luke said, the next step is they start eating their own. So they're going to come after, even like assuming Kamala wins.
Well, first they'll take us out.
Right,
And then
yes.
once they take us out, it's the...
And then it's the other guys.
Them. Yep.
Yeah, but a lot of the people who are able to, so the rich people tend to flee. So people who are able to will leave to other countries, and then they'll start eating their own, because as the rich people leave, so goes their money, so go their resources, so go their things. And then they got to go after their own because it's not enough. And then it's just a general decline on the way down, and then you end up in Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Poland. I mean, it's just, you see it happen over and over.
People are asking in the chat room for you, Steph, to show your guns.
Oh gosh.
And we have 3
They're
more
holstered.
we have 3 more super chats. That's a good comeback. We have 3 more super chats on the screen.
All right, we got one from Matthew saying, "Hi, Luke. I want to vote for Orange Man, but why does he get a pass on not taking a very anti-Epstein stance? He wished Ghislaine?
Yes.
Ghislaine, yeah.
Okay, he wished Ghislaine well and talked fondly about Epstein a few years ago. Controlled op?
I've brought up this issue a number of times because I did a deep dive on this since, of course, we were talking about Epstein way before anyone even knew who Epstein really was. When the corporate media was still promoting him and telling everyone how great of a guy he was, we were telling you, hey, that guy's weird and he has a weird island and he does some really weird things to children. As, of course, there was children coming to the FBI all the way in the 90s, and the corporate media was ignoring it. The FBI was ignoring it, as of course they were probably all involved in it. Donald Trump specifically was one of the few people that actually helped the victims when it came to lawyers that reached out to him, and he was one of the prominent people that actually helped give them information. We also spoke to Donald Trump Jr. Me and Josie, the redheaded libertarian, spoke to Donald Trump Jr. specifically, and we asked him, let's explain this larger kind of relationship here, and Don Jr. explained to us how Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. So if there actually was some compromise on Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, the corporate media, the establishment would be running with it, and they would be slandering his name with it right now. The fact that they're not means that there probably isn't anything. So that's my conclusion to it, talking and understanding the situation also from a lot of the lawyers that represented the victims. So that's my 2 cents on it. We got 2 more.
John Medisky says, Yo, Colby, I've seen John Jones dress as a woman. Do you think he will transition and become the women's champion?
Oh man, that's so funny. That's hilarious. He definitely has some fruity tendencies, I won't lie. And anybody that looks into him will see that he's done some weird things in his life.
Is he supporting Kamala?
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah. I mean, he seems like a Kamala supporter. Just has all those beta tendencies and just not a good human being, you know, the type of guy that's going to beat his wife, that has beaten his wife and, you know, hit pregnant ladies that stops and fled the scene and countless, you know, steroid charges, coke charges, and just not a good person. This isn't the type of person that's a role model that you want to be looking up to and listening to and taking advice from.
You got to look up to you. I think everyone should look up to Colby. He is an extreme role model.
Yep, we got 2 more, Steph.
David Himes says, breaking. You guys see Trump in a garbage truck?
Yep. We have that clip pulled up here. We're
And
going to be playing
Vivek,
it in a second, and then one more
One more.
on the screen. Look at the screen.
Slain Hope says, worst thing about prison is the food, all seed oil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely just the worst slop you could ever.
Unless you get to Epstein, to Ghislaine's jail, and then you get the royal treatment.
If you're in prison, you get the what's her name, Lizzo diet. Lots of really horrible foods out there. But yes, breaking news came out. Donald Trump dressed up as a garbage man and just declared this a couple moments ago. I'm always looking through Twitter when we're doing this live show just to see the update, and I'm like, is that a fake AI video? Is that really Donald Trump in a garbage man uniform? Yes, it is. Here's the clip.
Hello, everybody. This is Donald Trump, and 250 million people are not garbage.
Yes, great optics and PR, as of course Joe Biden is still trying to clarify his garbage comments, as it looks like the White House transcript tried to edit out his comments. It looks like a lot of people tried to obfuscate it through the community notes, and it looks like they're playing defense on his comments that were directed against Trump supporters. Any way you cut it, it's pretty clear. Joe Biden said what he did, and there's no denying it at all. This skit by Donald Trump, brilliant. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
I think it's even funnier that he's on a private jet.
Vivek I sent you the one Vivek's doing was in the garbage truck as well. So I love that they're trolling.
I do love that Trump is like the greatest troll of all times. Like I love that people suffer from TDS and like anything he does is just like, oh my God, he's so evil. It's like, yes.
Right. That was so
And
genius when he went to
McDonald's was legendary.
That was legendary.
I love him in the like his like he just takes off his suit jacket and like puts on the McDonald's stuff. Like he doesn't do the Kamala thing to show up dressed like the common person or whatever.
Yeah.
He's Donald Trump wherever he goes. I love that.
Or fake phone call where the cord's not even in the phone. You know, everything she does is for photo ops and optics. You know, Trump, you know, that's why people love him, because he's just a real genuine guy. He made the time out of his day to go to McDonald's, and now we all know that Donald Trump has really worked a lot longer at McDonald's than Kamala could ever think of.
She's a puppet. I mean, they edited her 60 Minutes video. You saw that.
To like 5 minutes or whatever.
But the reaction here, I think, is worth noting because we had that Tony Hinchcliffe comment, and you see the corporate media clutching their pearls, being offended, being mad, being angry, be like, how dare you say this? You look at the right, they just got called garbage. They're leaning into it. They're like, I'll dress up as a garbage man. They'll make fun of it. It's a totally different energy. It's a totally different reaction. It's a totally different vibe. As, of course, the memes from this are absolutely hilarious. As, of course, we got this picture of Donald Trump that's obviously fake in a garbage truck saying, hop in, bees, let's go vote. And we got a country to save. There's another one here of Trump taking out the trash. And the trash is crooked politicians that weaponized federal agencies with the one-sided justice system and Bidenomics, saying that Trump is going to take out the trash November 5th. So the reaction from this is so different compared to, of course, the left-wing reaction to this that always pretend to be just so absolutely offended by all of this. Vivek looks like he got into it as well. Here's the clip of Vivek also earlier today in a garbage truck.
All right. Let's do it, man. I got it. You got it? Yeah. Tell me, what are we doing here? Okay. Right up to here.
You know he never did this in his
life. Neither have I, Luke. Come on.
Those garbage men make a lot of money.
I think he's taking out the trash.
Taking out the trash, but like connected it to the truck and like, come
Pull
on.
them both out.
But again, brilliant reaction to all of this and just a totally different vibe compared to, of course, the left-wingers that are angry, that have a lot of negative reactions.
It kind of works.
This is the kind of positive energy you want to see from politicians, from a campaign, and from potentially the future leaders of this country.
You know what? That's a lot of work to get one trash can into the truck, actually. That's like a lot of buttons to push.
Let's do it.
What's the point of
Thank
this?
you.
He's taking out the trash, and the trash is, I guess, that Washington, D.C. swamp, I hope.
So, Steph, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, called Trump supporters garbage.
They said that it's missing an apostrophe in his stutter, and like apparently that's not really what he tried to say.
That's a cover-up.
Honestly, I gotta say, I'm not quite sure. I have to rewatch it again. The stutter did kind of throw me off when I listened to it myself. But I just feel like it's kind of the same low blow as considering the whole MAGA Madison Square as like a crazy mustache man rally. I think that both of them are equally as low.
Yeah, but we're talking about a shock jock comedian, right? Who's known for saying these things all the time. And now we're talking about the current president of the United States, right? There's a big difference between the two in those particular statements, especially since the shock jock tried to make people laugh. He tried to, of course, bring humor to people. Joe Biden brought a lot of seriousness, a lot of anger, a lot of very negative energy behind those statements that, of course, do resonate with his larger policies that reflect that larger sentiment. If you look at what happened to the people of North Carolina, if you look at what happened to Middle America, if you look at all of the policies that he has implemented that has absolutely destroyed the middle class and the blue collar workers of this country, you see a direct approach of actually seeing us as garbage. And those are perfectly represented by what he did as president of the United States. A comedian making an offhanded joke, that's completely different.
I take both of them very not seriously. A comedian and Joe Biden. They're both like comedians.
Ouch. I mean, one of those is the current president of the United States, Steph.
Who can barely like make a sentence that's accurate.
What do you mean? He's sharp as a tack. Didn't Kamala say that? I mean, he's so great. The thing here is, like, as the resident Latina, I know you are too, kind of, Steph, but the thing is, the left is always using us as like, they tried to make Latinx a thing, and they're like, Latinos need to have like a word for them because that's like all inclusive. Meanwhile, Latino is all inclusive. So they're very much like they want to tell us what to think. And then with the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, it's like he was calling all you Latinos trash. It's like, wait a minute. First of all, Puerto Rico is part of America. So yeah, please stop like being the white knight for us Latinos. We don't need you to stand up for us. People on the left, thank you. We appreciate it. Actually, I think we'd prefer if you just like not. Like, just leave us alone.
There's a whole bunch of different words, like Hispanic versus Latinos.
But Latino, so in Spanish, everything is A or O, so everything is male or female. Like a door is puerta, it's a female. It doesn't mean that you are going to like go have relations with the door because you think it's female. It's just, it is how our language is. Like, that's what it is. So Latinos means all Latins. It doesn't mean only the males of we have a gendered language. So it's so ridiculous because when you say X in Spanish, isn't X like in English, it's X. So in order to say Latin X in Spanish, it's Latino X. So you don't get rid of the O. Like, it never becomes...
Wait, but I'm sorry. I just don't understand why you're referencing feminine and masculine.
Because that's what the left tried to name us. I don't know if you remember, like 2 or 3 years ago, it was like all over the place. Stop calling them Latinos. They're Latinx. And it's like the Latinos
I've never heard of this. That's
really?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, it was like a big deal for a while. And it's like all these Latinos were like, can you please stop?
I just heard that people in Puerto Rico are saying that they're not Latinos and that they are Hispanic.
Oh, well, sure, that too. But I mean, like, a lot of people on the left now are like, Tony Hinchcliffe came after the Latinos.
I think that those comments are like disproportionate. Like, he's a comedian. It's very obvious. Even the articles did say right off the bat, the comedian.
Right. I mean, it was a joke. The whole thing was like ridiculous. The fact that they were blowing this up while not blowing up, that Joe Biden literally called half of this country trash, is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Colby came in here and said he's not offended by any jokes. He's a class act. That's why he's representing Trump.
Alpha men
the other
are
side
not
is
threatened
getting
by this.
offended by a roast. If you watch the Tom Brady host, he roasts every ethnicity. He roasts everybody. Joe Biden is the sitting president. He's not roast. He doesn't roast people. So he's offending everybody, just like Hillary Clinton did in 2016.
He only offended half of the country, I think. Only half the country is MAGA supporting. The other half.
It looks like he didn't just dress up as a garbage man. He actually went in a garbage truck. So I thought this was an older clip, but no, this is a clip that just came out a couple minutes ago from the former president of the United States. Here it is.
Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden, to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
I wish you were there with him, Colby.
Love it.
You would join him.
You gotta love it. Hey, no, this is the way to do it. You know, instead of clutching your pearls, instead of being, how dare you, instead of being butthurt, you're like, no. Fine, you want to call us garbage? We'll be in a garbage truck. Fine. Ridicule us, make fun of us, prosecute us, go after this, but you're not going to defeat us. You're not going to take away our happiness. And that's the symbol. That's the message right here. That is top-notch, brilliant.
Trump's team is doing a great job. I mean, and Colby just volunteered he would be there in a heartbeat, and I really appreciate that about you. I'm willing to be a garbage man, too, if it takes to help him get elected.
I mean, this image right here, just absolutely hilarious. Donald Trump.
I love that they had the time to get the truck ready with like the Trump sign on it. I mean, like, that took like coordination and stuff.
No,
like, his team is on fire.
A lot better than the 2020. I'll tell you.
Oh
that
yeah, his team is on fire. That like to get a truck wrapped that quickly.
And did you publicly endorse him in 2020? Because he didn't have a lot of big people endorsing him back then. Now it seems like people aren't afraid anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I've endorsed him in 2020 and. You know, I've been a supporter of his since, you know, Apprentice days in 2010. So, you know, I've been one of his biggest fans. And that's someone who I look at and I'm like, that guy's a role model. That's who I'm going to look up to. Not these woke athletes that tell, you know, these men that they can change their genders or the women's, vice versa. You know, I look up to Donald Trump. I looked up to the guys that support the guys in blue, our military. Those are the strong people of this country and the backbone of our country, you know, who fought for our constitutional rights. So those are the people that I look at in a role model.
Could you imagine if Colby all of a sudden decided he pulled a Zuby and he decided that he's gonna like identify as a woman and go into the ring? I mean, could you imagine what would happen?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know Zuby, right?
I love Zuby.
Zuby's great, but he participated in like a weightlifting. That's what made him like really famous and blow up, because in England they're like, well, all you have to do is identify as a woman and you're a woman. And he's like, all right. So he did the deadlift championship for women, and he's like, I'm a woman. And then he lifted like without even practicing, because that's the difference between men and women. He just, you know, shows up and like does his regular set and blows out all the chicks. And it's like, imagine if Colby does that. Goes into women's.
He would never lose.
Not only that, I mean, you're going to get someone killed at that rate. Like, honestly, there's a lot of men that I've left unconscious in the gym through the years of fighting. And if you put a woman in front of me, like, that's literally, it's going to be bad. So combat sports is different than other sports where you're playing for points. This is, you know, health is on the line. Your brain health is on the line. Like, you knock someone out, maybe you land on your neck wrong, you're paralyzed for the rest of your life. This is serious stuff. So this is why we need to protect women's sports. And all the women out there need to vote red this election, November 5th.
I love that answer, and I think that's our answer. Every
Amen.
time somebody's bringing up, you know, this gender issue, it's like, great. You want to go down this route? Here we go.
Yeah.
You know.
Soon we're going to move over to a free speech platform where we get to actually say whatever we want and not have to be careful with the technocratic, Google overlords. Before moving over, it looks like we got one more super chat here on YouTube before we go over to thebestpoliticalshow.com. Steph, on the screen.
John Medeski
Yes.
says, "Yo, Colby, how do you think you stack up against all of the new UFC fighters / wrestlers that look like Kebab from those Stan countries?"
I think I match up really well. You know, no one can train as hard as me and long as me. I really feel like, there's not a man that can stay with me in a fight to the absolute death. Like if we were out in the streets and this was back in Rome and we were fighting in the Coliseum, like no one's going to outlast me. I'll go all day. I have no quit in me. That's the type of mindset I have. And, I have no quit in this country and in Donald Trump. So I'm going to keep fighting for him. I'm going to keep fighting for what I believe in. And that's our freedoms. Donald Trump's in the way. And if we let him fall, then they're coming after all of us. So that's the way we need to think. There will be no free country to live in anymore.
God, I love that.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
How do you follow that up?
Yeah, that's a good question. As of course, we're now going to move over to the free speech platform. Before moving over, Colby, where can people find out more information about you before we leave this platform?
You could just follow me on social media, Colby Covington, my name on Instagram, Colby Cov MMA on X, and just follow my journey. I'm going to keep fighting for you guys. I'm a self-made man and through the American dream. And that's what I love about this country. And that's why I like fighting for this country, because it's literally given me everything. I came from a blue collar family. My parents had to work 2-3 jobs. We lived in a trailer at one point in our life. So I never was spoon-fed, so to speak. I had to earn everything the hard way, but that's what's beautiful about this country is you can come from nothing and you can become something. So that's what we have to fight for. That's the country that I love, and that's what we all need to go out there and vote for in 6 days.
Absolutely. Martha?
The American dream right there, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow me on X and IG at Bueno for Miami.
I'm really moved by Colby. I mean, his presence is just, you just feel like a really special soul, and he really believes in making America great. And it's just, I wish that people out there had half his courage. 1% of humanity had that, we'd be in great shape. If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter, the Robbie Man with an I, and on IG at Robbie Man.
You can find me on X at StephWRC. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around to the next segment.
All right, we still don't have a caller. That caller could be you. Atlas is excited to hear from you as well. Sign up to lookunfiltered.com. First-time callers also get a supplement from wearechange.shop. We got a lot of great supplements. She's very excited about that. Atlas.
Save the dogs, save the animals.
Couch.
Vote Donald Trump. Otherwise, our dogs and animals are going to be eaten and taken away from us.
Absolutely. That's another reason.
Atlas says vote for Trump. Look at her.
Hey, you're joking, but that's literally what happened in Venezuela. I did on-the-ground reporting in Venezuela. Man, the stuff that I've seen there was just
They
absolutely
ate the zoo
awful.
animals when they were starving.
Yeah, no, I was there in the midst of the crash, and the stuff that I've seen was just absolutely horrible and awful.
Wasn't there some weird things going on in Ohio too?
Yes, that as well. But I don't think it was that much of a desperate situation. But a little different. They had financial collapse in Venezuela.
Yeah.
A very rich country. But
It was very rich when I was a child, and I don't feel like I'm that old. So the difference between the Venezuela that I grew up in and the Venezuela of today is just mind-blowing.
Yep.
Has Trump asked you to speak at any rallies? 'Cause I think you'd be a great speaker.
Yeah, I've spoken at a couple of his rallies. I spoke at one of his Vegas rallies a couple years ago, but this election cycle, not as much. I just, he knows I'm busy with the fight world, and, my number one issue right now is being the best fighter in the world and holding that place. So I have to train every day as hard as I can, and, that takes a lot of time and commitment, but, I'm there for him anytime he needs me.
If he asked you to be at a rally in the next, before the election, you'd probably do it?
Oh, absolutely. I would do anything Donald Trump wants me to do. I would go fight at the depths of the darkest seas for him. He actually told me, he's like, hey, man, we might have to put you at the border, in charge of the border. And make sure no one gets through. If these guys want to get through, they're going to have to fight you for it. So, that's a possibility.
Yeah, but I'd rather you than any bureaucrat in office, to be completely honest, as the hiring is really going to be interesting if things go our way. Conversation continues. We're getting into Diddy, a lot of other crazy stuff. And before getting out of here, check out wearechange.shop. We got a lot of great products. I give these products to my family. I really like them. I stand behind them. We produce them. We make them. And they got some really great stuff. So by getting them, you also support this independent media network and also start your own independent health journey, which I think is more important for the average American to begin.